So, ladies and gentlemen, protocol has already been established, and I want to express my appreciation for being invited here this afternoon to be a part of this important Peace Day activity. The collective volunteerism, in my mind, is the highest profession in the world. When somebody can give of their time, expertise, energy, and everything without looking for a penny in return, that is a person, right? That is somebody that you need to applaud. Put your hands together for Dr. Reed and his team for trying to make Manchester a better place. Now, in 2017, the Manchester Parish Development Committee, in consultation with all our development area committees across the parish, and in realization of the current realities that face each and every community, developed what we call the Manchester 2030 plan. Up until that time, successive governments have signed off and were spending a lot of money on this 2030 plan. And also, what it contained in that plan was the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the successive governments have signed on to and received funding to ensure that come 2030, the Vision 2030 would declare Jamaica a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. But in Manchester, we have added one more aspect to it: to do business and to retire, right? So that is what we want to do. So we met with the municipal corporation thereafter, and the municipal corporation has integrated our 13-point plan into their strategic plan. And after that, the mayor, myself, the secretary manager, and Mr. Wint came with me, and Mr. Wayne Chen, we met with the PIOJ, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, and Ms. Barbara Scott, deputy director of that institution. The institution, PIOJ, endorsed everything that we're doing, that it fell in line with the Vision 2030. But one thing she said, when we explained the current reality in our parish, she said she didn't know things were so bad in Manchester. No, bear with me. I don't mean a negative to make it a negative. But however, we have a lot of issues here. And sometimes when you see a situation, Pastor, there's a lot more to it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's inequity all around us, right? Education. How it is that Manchester, central Manchester, right? And compare educational institutions in central Manchester to South Manchester. South Manchester is 3 times the size of central Manchester. Central Manchester has about 5,000 more residents. How come you have 9 high schools here in central Manchester and only 3 down here? You understand what I'm saying now? You know the effect of that over the years? Over the years, because the parents down there cannot afford transportation costs. A family of maybe 3, 5, or whatever, right, can only afford to send their children to school maybe 3 times a week. So you find now a lot of undereducated young people. And we don't have a tracking mechanism to prevent young people falling through the cracks. That's the problem, So because they are undereducated, it shouldn't stop there. We need to find ways and means and getting them to be productive citizens, all right? So the same thing with water, the same disparity. You know what I'm saying now? And South Manchester is bad and not so bad with the education. North West Manchester, 1 high school bursting at the seams. Right? That can't be right. But listen now, we're not going to get anywhere by pointing fingers of who did this and who didn't do that. We are where we are, and we are adamant at the Manchester Parish Development Committee that we're going to do something about it. And let's do something about it. On May 19th, for the first time in 70 years of bauxite mining in our country, and in particular in our parish, we had a bauxite conference, getting all the stakeholders together, right? Because there were a lot of issues, outstanding issues. Guidelines developed before we got our independence, when our constitutional rights, we had at that time, no constitutional rights, so to speak, right? And guess what? Everybody was expecting a confrontational event. Didn't happen. We all agreed that there were 23 outstanding issues to be dealt with. Imagine, the bauxite company buys your property with your house, resettles you, and you have to wait 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years to get a title. You know, that is injustice, right? So, and Dr. Reed, justice and peace comes hand in hand everywhere you go, right? And if there's no justice, there can be no peace, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, out of that conference, we partnered, this little Manchester Parish Development Committee partnered with the Ministry of Mining. We got everybody together, and we are now into serious discussions, right? More than discussions, we were asked to prepare for the Harmons community a project proposal for the domestic water supply down there. Imagine Harmons, Mr. Tim O'Driscoll, head of the Lands Department for Jamalco, informed me millions of tons of bauxite have been taken out of the Harmons community. And good God, we don't have nothing to show for it down there, right? I must tell you, right, 3 weeks ago, I submitted that project proposal to the ministry, and they're now actively doing the fundraising, putting it all together. Because from 1974 until yesterday, successive governments have collected $4.5 billion of bauxite levy, ostensibly to be plowed back into areas like Campbell's Castle and Harmons and those areas. And this was not done. Promise was made, promise wasn't kept. But we didn't quarrel. But we said, listen now, from here on in, from May 19 or May 20 onwards, it's a different ball game. And here's what we have agreed to do. We are now setting up a subcommittee of the Manchester Parish Development Committee to monitor the affairs of bauxite mining in our parish, right? Yesterday I was in dialogue with the finance ministry. And believe me, the doors are not being opened for us. He said, listen now, all that is necessary is to have a joint submission, the ministry and JBI, and we can get projects done that were long overdue. You mean to tell me the amount of bauxite that has been taken out of South Manchester, right? And we don't have one legacy? Eh? No, man. No, we're joking around, right? So we have problems in education, water. We have 86%, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals require us to have at least 86% of our population having access to potable water, right? That's not the case down here. We're behind with that. Imagine, and this is public knowledge, and I got this information, right, by strong-arming some people in authority to get it. From 2011 until this day, the NWC cannot account for 74% of the water that is pumped up to our Manchester here. No. It costs, and it's gone up now. When I got that information, the NWC was paying JPS 50 million a month. 50 million a month, and you can't account for 74%. If you're a carpenter and you're building chairs, and after you build 100 chairs, you can't account for 75. You're going to be in business? And people suffer. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying, the system, but a lot of people bad mind or whatever. The system requires us now, as a society, to work together, right? Because, and that's the problem. Every head office of every agency is in Kingston. They don't know what's going on down here. Imagine. And I'm not going to be too long because I'm going to get to the point very quickly, right? We were working on some training, Heart Trust NTA training, for some in New Green, Alligator Pond, and down in Lancaster. And head office called down here. Oh, drop that. You must now concentrate on BPOs. Eh? And the people, they want to get along with their lives. They can't work. We can't do business like that, right? So when we started to monitor the solid waste, some areas, how is it that some communities have their garbage picked up religiously every week and others every 6 months, 9 months? You know what I'm saying? That is not fair. So we started a system at the Parish Development Committee where the communities report to us to say, listen, you have to get down here. You have to go drop. If Ingleside is supposed to get this week, they have to wait. You know what I mean? Everybody is entitled to your constitutional rights. And I thank the European Union for the financial support for starting us off with our I Have Rights booklet here, where we're printing how many people in Manchester or in Jamaica have an idea of what their rights are. Not many people. I was at a meeting in Williamsfield, and the chairman said to me, do we have to hire an expensive lawyer to know what our rights are? The very basic, you should know what your rights are. Absolutely. And your responsibilities. That's all. So we talk about peace and whatever the case may be. It's not that there are bad people in Greenvale, or bad people in Ingleside, or bad people in Knockpatrick. The system has not been fair in the distribution of benefits to our people. Am I right or wrong, ladies and gentlemen? Right. But we're not going to fight or point fingers to say what church you belong to or what color you like. It makes no sense. We're going to do that forever. You don't argue about religion, or you don't argue about politics, right, Pastor? What we are saying is, listen now, this generation has a moral obligation to ensure that the Manchester we pass to the next generation, right, it's something where we can be proud of, a legacy, right? And our 2030 plan includes Greenvale, includes Comfort, includes Victoriatown, includes everywhere else that might have little flare-ups. But if you look at all of those communities, right, there are some similarities in there. Huh? How it is? How come? And I'm going to get back to this now. Bethel Street and those streets there, right? The houses are not numbered. When you look across Marshall's Pen, Egret Drive, and the number this and number that. If there's an emergency in Greenvale, any kind of emergency, how do you respond to it? If I say, the Johnson residence or whatever, by the time you get there, the person dead. That's all? You understand? So the problem has been that the system has not taken into consideration in an equitable way the rights of the people, because they don't know what their rights are. Right? Same thing when they were on the street light business. I said, wait a minute now. How come every little corner in our community in our Mandeville, street lights, and you go out with darkness everywhere? You know what I mean? Yeah. No, man. No, nothing can work like that. So one by one, you see this conference situation where we can come together in a civilized way, acknowledge the mistakes of the past, and so that people can have some hope, right? So my association with this community dates back over 20 odd years. Former councillor and former mayor, Horace Williams, invited me to Bethel Street to a meeting. This was in the 90s. And when I got here, I said, Mayor, what kind of thing is this? You don't even have, it's your area, and you don't have no street signs. Eh? You have been asking the meeting going to be held somewhere or the other. You know what I'm saying? Out of it came the signage, right? And also welcome to Bethel Street. That was done. And we started to number the houses. You understand? With a view, because when those people on Bethel Street look over to Marshall's Pen, they see a little guy in a uniform on a red bike. You know, in delivering mail. So how come they don't get the mail over there? Eh? You know what I mean? No, man. No. We have to now insert ourselves into the community to say, listen now, as if we live there too. Even though you don't sleep there, right? But by Dr. Reed, I can say it, he really lives there. You know what I mean? In his spirit. That is what the people up there want and need. Because the authorities didn't, if you notice how the houses, I don't know how many permits they got. You know what I mean? It wasn't set up in an orderly way because everybody built how they could afford and every little thing. Even sometimes maybe it's not even safe. And this business of having shop and bar is the worst thing can happen in any community because you just breed criminals. Everybody will tell you that, right? Anyway, do not despair as it relates to the 18 communities we have down here. I remember 14 years ago, I was the director of the Tourism Product Development Company. The same civic dialogue for democratic governance, UNDP. We had I was part of a committee, and Leon from Backbush, anybody here know Greenvale? Anybody at all? Ever heard of Backbush off Mountain View Avenue? Yes. One of the most violent places in the world, right? When they have a little guy selling fruits at the corner of Mountain View Avenue and Shavers Road. He's the security for the community. When you get down there, he used to phone Leon and say, Mr. Frekleton, come in, right? And then we go there. And then now, when I get in there, I dare not turn up or lock up my vehicle, right? I said, no. So I said, I don't have to? I said, okay, I'm not going to do it. And we had a trust. And I tell you, I used to play dominoes, talk about dominoes. I'd play with them in the night until 8:39. And the only time I felt a little unsafe when I see some big soldiers with the big guns passing through, you know. You know what I mean? I said, maybe a stray bullet or whatever the case may be. Anyway, Leon invited me in, and I went there. Here is an unfinished building, no roof, little bit of concrete on the edge. And tarpaulin on it. You know how Kingston hot already? 100 degrees. 20 little children, like a basic school there, right? And I was going away the next week to Trinidad, and I wrote a little proposal to the IDB. Said we have to help these people. Long and short of it, with the assistance of the Member of Parliament, we finished the roof, put in the grill lit up and make it habitable. And we bought them a full set of welding equipment. 4 sewing machines for the ladies, and a lathe. Greenvale people know a lathe, right? 15 years ago. With a stipulation that Kuni, the guy's name is a welder there, that he's going to train these young people. To this day, that center is running right now. They're not only running with the one, they have bought another welding machine. So the people will be trained, young people, and come back and make them grills and go out again. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Backbush, right? A couple of years ago, the former member of parliament for that area, St. Auburn Bartlett, told me that that project brought peace to Backbush. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when last have you heard any problems with Backbush? Never. You know, with Saunders Lane and all that kind of thing. I couldn't believe it, you know? I couldn't believe it. And anybody, after I'm finished here, want to talk to Cooney in the Backbush, I'll let you talk to them. But this is what we have to do in Greenvale, right? First of all, Greenvale, they are the most skillful persons in Manchester. When you talk about building construction, that's them up there, right? And their departed Devon Records, you know, we worked with them up there and at the time, right? What we need to do with those folks up there now is have them certified. First of all, do a survey, how many of them are there, what skills they have, and also have them certified on the job so that they can be paid more and also get on the overseas program, right? That is what you have to do. And also, those other children there, the problem in doing things in Manchester is we lack data. How many, you say we're going to deal with the youth, we're going to deal with the youth, we're going to deal with the youth. How many youth are we going to deal with? What are the educational standards? How are we going to get them? How are we going to track them? You can't just leave them like that, you know. And we track them and we say, listen now, all right, you're taking like a break, here's what you have to do, right? That is what we have, and we have to get in there and the long haul, Dr. Reed, the long haul. And we can do this in comfort, you name it. But we have to ensure that there's no place out of bounds for anybody in Manchester. You must be able to go to anywhere and feel safe and so forth, right? And that is where we're going to deal with it, right? So, as part of our project, we launched a year and a half ago community dispute resolution project. The officers at the JCF will tell you that over 70% of the crime and violence in Manchester in particular stems from some kind of domestic disputes. Correct, sir? Good. So we have 424 districts in our parish. So what we want to do now is identify a representative from each district that can keep an eye out. Some two persons quarreling all the time is going to lead to something. And we partnered with the Custos, with all the JPs, and also the Restorative Justice Unit of the Ministry of Justice to implement this project. So that 4 JPs have been assigned to Mile Gully. And I can tell you, up to now, we have saved 2 murders from being committed in that area down there. So put your hands together for those people down in. So we're going to Cross Key next, right? Because you know, in the farming area, somebody's goat gets away, eat up the guy's potatoes, a machete is brought into play, you know, because they can't agree on compensation, right? So these are the things that fester into some land dispute and so forth and so on. So at the district level, right, this is where the root cause of everything is at the district level. If we can have a presence at the district level and using the social media platforms and the technology we have today in a database system, be able to, at a touch of a button, find out what's going on in Bethany or in Plowden, you name it. You know, we have a better chance of improving the quality of life of our people here in Manchester. Now, the fact is that we have turned the corner, as it were, as it relates to them and us in terms of working with the state, right? I know now there are especially at the Ministry of Mining, we have a team and we meet very regularly. They come down and meet with us down here, and they're very supportive and they understand our day-to-day plight. You know, for example, how is it that there is a school bus system in the capital and we don't have one down here? That can't be right. You know what I'm saying? The struggles. How is it Can you imagine yourself living in Plowden? You don't have transportation, and you have to wait on the whim of a taxi driver to take you into where you want to go. You understand what I'm saying? There's no schedule to say, this cab is going to come here at this hour, then it may be, right? So that's what we're doing. So we're going to have 3 more conferences in our parish where we're going to get everybody together. And I'm wrapping up here now, Madam Vice Mistress, right? To sit down with everybody and say, listen now, right? This parish, we can't, Jamaica cannot advertise itself as a country of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business unless Manchester, I'm speaking of Manchester now, can be so described. You know what I mean? So sometimes I bring up Clarendon or whatever, but I say, no, let us deal with this one here first. You know what I mean? Because we have a sufficient, our population, we have the type of people that we have in Manchester can be found nowhere else in the country. You know what I'm saying now? I know that. I've been around. I play dominoes. And if you don't, Pastor, if you can't play dominoes, play a little game of dominoes. And you will see what I'm talking about. Yes. Dr. Reed is playing a good game now and then, right? But because of the World Domino Council, right, I have to watch who I play with, you know what I mean? But I have the fondest memories of any area, Greenvale, Georges Valley, and Royal Flat, and those areas, when I played a game of dominoes. And guess what? I always played with my wife, Wendy. So now, when they see Wendy in front of me, you know, they say, boy, we're going to clean them up. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't want to take it any longer. Let me tell you this one now. There's a little get-together on Caledonia Road, taxi men there and everything. So we stand up politely, waiting for our turn. So the guy said, Frekleton, you want to play? He said, yeah. The other guy said, let them go, man. They're not going to stay long. You know, get rid of them. Right? So I said to myself, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Right? Anyway, we dropped 2 sap on the guy and I said, and went in my pocket. I said, here, get a cab and go home. Don't ever come back on a table when you see me again, right? So anyway, so what I'm saying here now is that life goes in, there's cycles, you know, and one of these days, the stigma associated with Greenvale and Comfort and other areas, we'll get past that, right? Things are the past. All we have to do is to continue to commit ourselves. Listen now, if they can't sleep well, we can't sleep well. If they can't eat well, we can't eat well. If they can't educate their children well, we can't educate our children well, right? That is the philosophy that we want. And I'm telling you, we commit at the Manchester Parish Development Committee to continue to work with the state, right? No matter which party is in, this is our parish. We want to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that come September morning of 2030, Manchester can be declared the parish of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.